Hi everyone. My name is Anu. I'm a customer success manager at Amoeboids Technologies. And thank you for joining today's webinar, Streamline Your Workflow, Auto-Publish Release Notes and Reports to Confluence. So basically in today's webinar, you will learn how you can seamlessly do your release notes and reports or publish them within Confluence and enhance the collaboration with your teams. So let us start without any further ado. So yeah, this is the agenda for today's webinar. We will be discussing some typical use cases of publishing release notes in Confluence. Then I'll quickly give you an introduction to a helper app, which is actually a kind of a connector app between ARN, Confluence, Jira. It connects these three platforms together, and you can publish your release notes and automate it along with the automate your release notes in Confluence new editor basically. Then there is creating Confluence page as template with ARNR specific macros. So like native macros there in the Confluence, we have some ARNR specific macros built in helper app. So we will also talk about that, touch base on those macros. Then I'll share some scenarios for publishing and updating the pages, right, within the Confluence. So some typical scenarios that every Confluence user come across when they are doing, when they are publishing, pages in Confluence. Then we will have a quick poll of questions, and then live demo where I'm going to showcase you how you can create um, templates and how you can automate this with the help of helper app. And then we will have a quick round of question and answers. So the typical use cases, why you use the release notes in Confluence. So I assume most of you are already using Confluence and you know the kind of platform it is. The tight integration between Jira and Confluence is the biggest reason there. But apart from that, whatever documents you are publishing within Confluence, like release notes, release reports, right, everything remains in the centralized place, different spaces that you create, and you can of course manage them easily based on the stakeholders. You can create internal external spaces and so on, so that becomes the easiest option. You can create searchable repository for all the updates that you are publishing in the Confluence. And of course it improves collaboration with team, with your customers and partners. So for example, sorry for that. Yeah. So, for example, you are doing a pre-release meeting just before every release, right? So you are publishing a pre-release report that is within the Confluence, right? And before you actually do so, in that meeting, you can use this pre-release report that you have published using ARNR and Confluence for the discussion in that meeting. Also, you can make it accessible for everyone in the the relevant people, plus using that information like different stats around the issues in the release or the information related to each and every issue that you have in that release. It helps to make decisions, clear decisions with the help of report, because you will have all that information readily available. Moreover, it is a structured information that you would need for any decision making. Yeah. Then we have the next part is about the helper app. So what exactly the helper app is? Confluence helper app. It is a free app which is separate from the actual ARNR app that you are using. It works on both free and paid apps of ARNR. So basically, you must know that on the marketplace we have similar automated release notes reports app. One is free with some limitations, of course, and another is the paid app. So this helper app works on both the apps. The main intent of having this app is to automate your release notes, page creation and publishing from Jira to Confluence. And majorly the the major part here is about the editor that we are using, right? So if you follow Atlassian updates, you must know that the legacy editor, or the old editor that was available there on the Confluence, that is available in fact, mm, will be soon deprecated by Atlassian. They have already taken a few steps toward that. They have stopped supporting the APIs for the old editor. They are not making any new changes or updates in the old editor and so on. And the next step could be somewhere sooner that they will completely deprecate this old editor, right? So just to be ahead of all these changes, we have implemented or launched this helper app. So you can just do that transition smoothly before that old editor or the legacy editor is completely gone. It stores your templates in the Confluence space. So if you have already used the old Confluence template that sits within the templates function or the templates tab of ARNR, you would notice that all the templates remain in ARNR. Whereas in this approach, you actually create these templates in the Confluence page. So you create Confluence page as a template, and then you utilize it for the publishing release notes and reports. You can customize JQL sections, variables, custom variables, etc., similar to what we have in other native templates of the ARNR app. So we will talk about this in a bit, where I'll be talking about these different macros that are ARNR specific. And of course, it saves your time when you are building these reports and release notes for different stakeholders in different formats. So this is going to be an effortless process when you are using the helper app along with ARNR, right? So these are all macros, ARNR specific macros that we have within the helper app, right? So like any other macro, you can just search for these macros on the Confluence page. JQL section macro is similar to what we have in other templates as a JQL section. Filters or Jira issue macro is again somewhat similar to JQL section macro, but it is dynamic in nature. In JQL section, whatever data you have published is the static data. If you have any updates in the Jira issues, that for that you will have to republish the page. In terms of filters or Jira issue macro, it is dynamic in nature. You get the refresh button, and it is in a tabular format, of course, only tabular format, but you get the dynamic data. You can just update the data on the go without republishing your pages. AI generator macro, so it helps you to generate a quick summary out of certain issues. Those are fetched by your JQL section. Variable macro, you can utilize it to use different ARNR specific variables like version ID, sprint ID, release date, etc. Right? Not really the date related macros. For date related macros, we have this date macro. The variables like release date or start date, start date, sprint end date, all these date related variables will be covered in the date macro. Stat macro, it allows you to pull counts and publish those counts in the Confluence page. So we will see the example of these macros, how exactly you can utilize this and use them. Status macro is again similar to what you have the what you have in the Confluence's status macro, the native status macro. It's just that you can add different variables in that status macro and highlight them within the page. And these are some scenarios when you are publishing pages in your Confluence, right? So these are the 4 scenarios. When you are publishing any page in the Confluence, you either create a new page, which is completely a fresh page where you are, publishing a fresh content. It is possible that sometimes you already have the page and you just want to update some part of that page. In that case, you use update an existing page, right? So that is another scenario. Prepend an existing page. So typical example is that you have one page dedicated for one product where you are actually maintaining a running log of your releases or your reports, different types of reports related to releases, right? So in that case, when you are using the append action, in this case, you just add the newest content at the bottom of the page, whereas in prepend, it's completely opposite. You just highlight or add the recent updates at the top of the page that is already existing there, right? So we will also see the examples and some designs of these templates, right? So it's poll time. So I'll just launch the poll. You will receive some just 2 questions in your chat window. Please do answer those questions. So I'm launching the first question here. I'll give you a couple of seconds to add your answers. You must have found it. You must have got the question in your chat window. It's just a quick answer, quick question there. And I'm just adding the second question here, which is already, if you're already using the Confluence editor, how is your experience with the new editor? So please do share your answers on this. So this will just help us to understand, from the Confluence perspective, how is your experience? So in the meanwhile, I'll go back to one of our screens here. All right, so I'm done with both the questions in the poll. So it's time to do a quick demo of the Confluence editor and the page, etc. Right. So as you can see, I'm hoping my screen is still visible to you all. Yeah. So I'm in the templates tab here, and initially it was like you have to go to the Confluence and create a new page from the scratch and build your page. So at the moment we are improving on that part. We are adding some enhancements. So what we have done is we have added this Confluence new editor here, right within the app itself, instead of creating it separately that you might have been creating already, whoever is using the new editor. So you can notice this is added here, and the users who are already who are still using the old editor, they must be using this. So you have to switch from this Confluence to Confluence new editor now, by using helper app. Of course, you have to install the helper app, complete the integration, and then you can start using this template. Now, when I select it, I get to select the instance. So based on the integrations you have done, whether you have added multiple Confluence instances or single, based on that, you will see the list here. Then you have to select the space where you want to publish this template, right? The Confluence page as template. So I generally use my personal space for creating these templates, right? And I'm clicking on create a draft. So you can notice that instead of totally blank page that was there earlier, we have added this simple sample template here that gives you an idea how you can add these macros, different macros that we have in the Confluence, ARNR specific macros, and how you can build it. So we are working further on adding more templates here. So soon that will be available, towards the early next month. We will have some more sample templates for you, and you'll be able to easily use these ready templates and create your release notes. So before, instead of this one, I'm just going to another pre-created template here, which is actually a sample that we had created, which includes all the macros. So once you have created the page, you start adding different macros to design your Confluence template and then later utilize it in the rules and actions. So this is the simple TOC that I have added from the Confluence macros. The first macro that we have added here is status macro, right? So you simply add this status macro here, and you can use the variables and custom variable. You can use the different color codings to highlight that particular variable. And when this page is executed via action, that given variable will be actually replaced by the actual value here with that highlighted color. Then you have the variable macro basically. So whenever you search for variables, so this project name is added from this variable macro. So you can simply search for different variables that you want, you copy it and you paste it here, right? So in this way, you can use the variable macro. Version description is also added through variable macro. Then we have AI generator macro. So this allows you to create a quick summary, right? So in same way, just you slash and start typing the macro name or ARNR. You can start typing the name of the app and you will see the list of all the macros, right? So here you can add a nice title, formatted one. You can give a custom prompt to AI. You can also use the variables, like we have added the version name here, and you can add the JQL, right? The one extra step here is about validating JQL. So whenever you are adding JQL sections, AI generator, etc., you have to validate the JQL in Confluence template. So that is quick step there. And then you select these fields, right? So I'm generating the AI summary using the summary field here, and whatever is fetched by this particular JQL, it's creating the summary of all the issues based on given prompt here, right? So that's the AI summary or AI generator macro. Then all these date related variables, right? These are added with the help of date macro. So if I see this date macro, I'll be able to see the list of all the date type variables here, right? So this is the date macro here. Then we have stats macro here, which helps you to pull some counts of the issues, right? So you can add the title, it is optional. You add the GQL, right? And based on the GQL, it's going to count the issue and add that count here. You can also display that count as a link so you can quickly navigate to that particular list in the Jira issue. So like I said, this is the validation step. I simply have to select one of the projects and click on validate, and that JQL will be validated. This is the stat macro. We'll also see the output, and then we have the JQL section, which is similar to what we have in any other native templates of ARN. So I won't talk much about the JQL because JQL section itself is a separate topic. So this is all similar to what we have in any other templates of ARNR. And then we have this Jira issue filter or Jira issues or filter macro. So again, you can see it's almost similar to what we have in the JQL. It's just that you get the tabular format list, and you can dynamically update the Jira issues there. So these are different macros that we have added. If we look at the output, so this is how the output will look like, right? So here we have fetched this version project through different variables. This is the version description. This is the AI summary fetched through AI generator. These are the dates that we got from the date macro. These are the stats, right? So the counts that we got from the stat macro. And then we have this workload breakdown here, which is basically the JQL section that is fetching all the issues here, right? And then this is the Jira issue filter. So you can see here, unlike JQL section table, the table coming out of JQL section, here you have this refresh page where you can actually quickly get the latest content, and you also get the small link here to navigate to the list of issues within the Jira. So these are different macros uh, that you can utilize to design your entire page. Now, moving on to the rules part. So I'll quickly just create one sample rule here, right? Because I just want to show you the action that you can add within the rule. So you can see this is the publish to Confluence old action, which is for the old editor, and this is the one for the new editor. So I'm just going to show you the existing rule that we have. Okay, this is the rule that I had created, and I have added 4 different actions. Just for the understanding purpose in this demo, I have named these actions with the page actions that we have, right? The scenarios that we had discussed in one of the slides. So the first one is create new page. So once you complete the configuration, the difference here is that the page action. So when you have the page action called create new, it will always create a new page uh, within the Confluence with the given content. You can customize your page title just to avoid any error related to or titles, page duplication. So you can of course make use of these different variables within the page. So you can either use the source template or customize the page template. We recommend using this to avoid any errors related to page or title duplication, right? Then we have create new and update action, right? So in this case, what happens is system is first going to look for the title that you have mentioned, ARNR release notes 2024. So it will first look for this title if it already exists. Based on this actions content, the content coming from this particular execution, it's going to update the content on the same page. If it doesn't find the page with similar title, it's going to create a new page. So that's create new or update existing page. Now append action is there. So here you can see this append action. So what it does is it will append all the new content from this particular execution at the top of the page, and then prepend is something where you are adding sorry, the append will go at the bottom of the page and prepend will go at the top of the page. So it's completely based on what actions you are selecting and how this data should be published in your Confluence pages, whether you're going to use the existing pages, append, prepend, or update them, or you are going to create altogether a fresh page, that's create new page. Now I'll quickly run this action here, right? Okay, I'll select this particular version here and click on OK. And in the logs, it will start processing these actions one by one. So you can see these are the 4 actions that we have, right? So in these actions, everywhere I have used different variants of the templates or different designs of the template. So I'll be also able to showcase these pages, right? So it seems, okay, there was some issue with this. So I'll just show you some pages that I already have created, right? So I'll go to straightforward, go to this page and I'll show you these variants here. I'm sorry for that. Right, so this is the page that I have created using the new create new page action here. So you can see how we have built this page, bringing the stats or the counts here, where we have these detailed release notes for each of the types of the issues here, bug stories and other issues. Now, there is update existing page. So it's going to be similar to what we have in the create new. It's just that the existing data will be completely overridden by the new action and you will have that updated content in the page. But then again, here you have a different type of design here where you are bringing the stats here, the counts here at the top of each section. And you also have these small descriptions along with the nice summary of each issue here, right? Then append and prepend actions. So in case of append, here you can notice that I have released these 2 versions here, right? So the latest version will be at the bottom, whatever versions I have released here. And again, this is kind of a new design here of the template. And in case of prepend, we will have the similar versions, but you would notice that 1.0.1 is at the top, right? And whereas 1.0 is at the bottom. So that's append and prepend. Again, we will have some different design here, which is in tabular format with summary and the description and so on, right? So these are the different types of actions, and based on using these macros, you can design your templates in many different ways here. So yeah, that was about the demo. I'll still show you some more variants here, right? So we have seen these two, three, four variants already in one of the pages. One of the show samples I have explained you, right? So you can see this is another page here, which is actually showing me the release notes of specific version in an expand macro, the native macro of the Confluence. I might have similar designs as well in other templates, right? So this is another variant, and okay, it's loading, it's still loading. Yeah. So using page properties macro, you are just stacking up these release notes here, and each of the page will have the release notes in a different design again here, right? So we have used these counts and different macros here. Yeah, so that's all about the demo. This is what I wanted to showcase in terms of Confluence page creation and the execution. So if you have any queries, yeah, you can ask now. I'll stop sharing the screen. Any questions? Okay, I take it as a no in that case. Um, I just haven't looked at the polls yet, but I hope this was helpful if someone is already using the old Confluence templates or the old editor of the Confluence, and I hope this will be definitely helpful for those users who are planning to switch to the new approach with the helper app. So I'll just quickly go and show you the marketplace profile of the helper app here. Right, so this is the helper app that you can install. You can install with the help of your Jira admin. It's a free app, and you can complete the integration and start using it with the new template. Yeah, as far as attendees don't have any questions, I guess I have covered all the points that I had pretty before the time. Okay, thank you. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar.